Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's the Level 1 Podcast, broadcast to you live from beautiful Washington State. How are you all today? It is Saturday, the 17th of February, 2024. I hope I find you well. I hope that you are having a good weekend so far. And I hope that you're not too confused, because something is different. What is it? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. Okay, time's up. What's different? That's right. After 10 freaking years of me having a giant circular pop guard right here, taking up a giant portion of the screen, I finally have a new one. I didn't even know that this style existed. Apparently, this has been designed in the last decade, and works pretty well. This is designed specifically for the type of mic that I have. It's held with these heavy-duty rubber bands and basically points straight towards me. And it has this U-shaped, so it covers the whole front of the mic and does the same thing as a normal pop guard. You might say, well, what is a pop guard? A pop guard is a device that creates a surface between you and your microphone. So when you're talking, number one, when you do hard letters like see, like pop, the letter P, pop, pop. It stops it from actually, boom, hitting it with a burst of air and making it sound extremely loud. Number two, it also stops things like spittle and other things from hitting your microphone, because let's be honest, you sit here talking all day, yeah, you're going to have some saliva going, and it stops that from touching it. So, hey, I got a professional grade mic. This mic is served me very well in the last decade. It shows no signs of breaking down or anything. So I'm going to keep using it. And really this came to fruition because I did co-op with my wife the other night on Wednesday night for the very first time. And seeing us both trying to talk towards this mic while playing the games, what ended up happening was people noticed that we were kind of like going like this, right? We were trying to see around the mic and try to, see the chat. And it was hard to do because the pop guard is like this. Blocking. So everywhere you look, you're like, ooh, you got to look around it. So someone made a suggestion. They actually sent me a new link to this. Hey, get this one. This is way better than what you've got that's like 10 years outdated. So, yeah, so it's great so far. Obviously, let me know how it sounds. If it does sound better or worse or just the same. If it's just the same, that's perfect. But if it sounds worse, obviously I saved the old one. I actually have it over there. So if we need it, I can put it back on. But I feel like it's a good change that makes the podcast look better, because now you don't have this giant thing, blocking me on the screen, which is pretty good, I think. Okay? Anyway, today we have a chill podcast, and what I mean by that is we're going to have a few updates on Baldur's Gate Tekken, co-op gameplay, and the suggestion box, because based on what you guys have been saying recently, guess what? The suggestion box is back. I created a new one this morning, It is posted on the community tab of DSPGaming. All right, it's an open suggestions. It's anyone can post. And I made a new link to it in the chat. So if you type !suggestion, the new link comes up. And it is now a timed link that will paste every 15 minutes or so into the chat. So you can post up your suggestions there. And we have a fresh new thread for the new year. That way, I'm not inundated with suggestions from 5 months ago that probably are massively outdated. And maybe some of these have already been implemented. Okay? So there you go. Now, I'm going to say this. If you're going to suggest something, make it a suggestion for improvement. You hear what I just said? Make it a suggestion for improvement. What does that mean? It means please don't go in there and go, hey, will you play this game? That's not improvement. That's you giving your personal preference for what you want to see me play. That's not going to improve my streams. You understand? I want to know what it is that you think I could do to improve content. And it doesn't just have to necessarily apply here to DSP Gaming. It could apply to my other channels as well, DSP Reacts and DSP Throwback. What kind of content would you like to see? Would you like me to mix it up? Could I change something in my setup? Could I change something in my style or methodology of how I do stuff, right? We've been talking recently about bringing in other content rather than gameplay. Should I balance my stuff differently so there's less gameplay and more of something else? What should the something else be? People want me to get into politics, and I'm like, oh, I'm so apprehensive about doing that right now, but it is election year, right? So, let me know what you think, all right? I need to know all of your thoughts on all of this in the suggestion box, and from time to time when we have a chill podcast day like today, where particularly I don't have any news, I don't have a Phil's Day Off segment, we don't have anything crazy to talk about, okay? I then would go to the suggestion box to draw upon things to talk about, okay? By the way, just as an off, Jesse in chat said, did you ever think about getting a Blue Yeti mic? No, the Yeti mic from Blue Yeti, when you're with Kat, it has a stereo microphone in the mic. I had a Blue Yeti mic over a decade ago. When I first started direct capturing, I had a Yeti mic, and it broke within a few months. Basically, it sits on this like tripod, and the whole thing just got loosened and never would tighten ever again. So within like 4 months of me using it, it was unusable, so I got rid of it, and I never got another one. Now, I've heard since then they've actually become a very popular brand that a lot of people are using. But no, I've never looked into that. This mic here is a studio mic. This is actually like an audiophile's microphone. This is not, oh, a streamer's microphone or anything like that. So that's why I got this one 10 years ago. Someone suggested it, and here we are 10 years later, and it works beautifully, right? So it's obviously high-quality stuff. Would I look into possibly upgrading my stuff in the future? Sure, if people had a good suggestion of what I could use. But I feel like this microphone with has the Scarlett external device, the USB device, but this is a real mic that has that. I forget what the connector is called. Someone was saying it was like XLR, something like that. So you plug that into there and it works, and I would rather stay with a professional mic. I understand that the Blue Yeti, a lot of streamers are using it, but I'd rather stick with something. Has such longevity for me. What mic is it? I don't know. I think it's Audio Technica. I can't even read it. It is Audio Technica. It says right there, Audio Technica on the bottom, but I have no idea what model it is. But it's an Audio Technica mic from 10 years ago. But yeah, so what Jesse is saying is that this Yeti mic is a stereo mic that might pick us both up quite nicely. So it's like 2 different channels, is what you're saying? That's interesting. Anyway, so good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Time to chill a bit, talk a little bit about what's going on. I want to recap what we did yesterday on our streams, and then let you know what we're doing today, because today's a great day. Two great streams coming up, I feel. 2 momentous streams. And then, you know, the rest of the week and moving forward, next week is Final Fantasy week, if you guys aren't aware. It's actually a week from Thursday coming up where Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out, which I'm very excited for. So, anyway, let's talk about yesterday. All right, came back from break with a loaded podcast. We had tons to talk about, including the Xbox podcast revealing that everything I said was correct and everything that people speculated was completely wrong. Hilarious. Talked about my day off. How Kat and I played Skull and Bones for a few hours and our experience with that. And various other topics. Okay, so check out the podcast from yesterday if you didn't. It was loaded with information. It actually is one you should watch if you missed it, because it's going to get you caught up on a lot of hot topics. Okay, then we jumped into Baldur's Gate 3, Act 2. Am I surprised we didn't finish Act 2 yesterday? No. This game is so drawn out in everything that it does. It beats around the bush and takes absolutely forever to get anything undone in this game. And you should be like, oh, well, you're in the final area of Act 2, you'll beat it. No. No. Because it's not just the final area. First, you got to storm the tower. Then you got to do multiple fights in the tower. Then there's a boss fight on top of the tower. Then you got to jump into a corridor that sucks you under the tower, into an underground area. Now there's all these other dungeons down there with enemies and puzzles and story. It's like, can you just move on at some point? Can we actually have progress? But that's how the game's designed. It really is the ultimate time waster game, if you think about it. Like, everything has so much going on in the environment constantly. It's funny because, like, we ended the stream. I'm in a room with a device that reads brains. And I'm like, what is this? Is this for a plot or anything? And everyone's like, oh, well, if you had brains from the game that you had found, you could go to this device and you could see lore. And I'm like, so when did the game ever explain that? When in the entirety of this game, I've now been playing over 80 hours, did it ever say, hey, if you happen to find this brain in a jar, keep it, because later on there's going to be a device that reads brains? You were just supposed to know that. Oh, I'm just supposed to fucking know that, huh? And again, that's how this game is. If you know everything about the game, it's incredibly rewarding and rich and full of content and lore and everything. But if you don't know something, you're screwed. Again, I directly compare Baldur's Gate 3 to FromSoft games, where if you go in with the knowledge of how the systems work, where you're going to get the lore from, how the combat mechanics work, all of that, right? You can have an incredibly enriching experience that even makes you want to replay the game multiple times to do different builds, right? But if you go in that game cold, you go in Dark Souls 1 cold, you don't have any knowledge of the game, you might as well just smash yourself in the crotch with a big mallet. It feels about the same. It's about the equivalent experience, right? So, I just, again, I tell you guys, this is my first time ever with Baldur's Gate 3, okay? And it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's not true. I am enjoying it a lot. But, man, this game could have been better, in my opinion, if it had more accessibility, if it explained itself better, if it just tried every once in a while to not throw another curveball at you that you didn't expect. Now, I will say this as well. Sadly now, we're ending Act 2 and we're about to start Act 3. The cracks are now starting to show. Because in Act 1, I would argue the game was pretty much well polished to the point where, like, it felt like the seamless experience. In Act 2, we definitely saw some issues. Not major ones, but some. Yesterday, I saw more bugs in one 3-hour session that I've seen in the, like, entire game so far. So we start off with this giant fight at the entrance of Moonvale Tower, and the targeting's terrible. You're trying to target stuff, but because there's so many things in close confinement, it's almost impossible to target where you want, because it keeps jumping from the ground up onto the rafters up here, and then it goes back down. You want to click on this guy, but oh no, it accidentally clicked on this guy, but you can't tell because the camera's not very good. And I can tell you right now, with mouse and keyboard, probably a different experience, but I'm playing on console, as I should be able to, because they sell it on console, and it's just very difficult in a situation, a fight like that, to actually get what you want to happen. Case in point. Are you ready for this? I'm a druid. I transform into a panther. I leap to an enemy. I land right next to them. I say, pounce on the enemy. It's a special attack where you jump on an enemy and you knock them down. They go prone and you deal damage. I click pounce. I click directly on the enemy. I hit execute. The panther leaps up, flips, lands on its back, takes damage, and goes prone. What just happened? And everyone in the chat is like this. And they're like, well, did the enemy have some kind of a defensive maneuver? No. Nope. None. No defensive maneuver. So what happened? The game targeted incorrectly and targeted yourself. I want you to think about this. The game says that you're a panther and you pounced on yourself. That's the equivalent of you got in a car and you were driving down the street and you ran yourself over. Huh? It makes no fucking sense, and it's just a failure of logic, and the game, sadly, doesn't understand logic. It only understands the confines of its own rule set, and its rule set is flawed. So because the targeting doesn't work well, you can hit yourself with attacks that make no fucking sense whatsoever. So, excuse me. So that being said, yeah, that was stupid. Then I go to talk to a vendor, all right? And I open the vendor's inventory because I'm just curious, after this giant fight, what can I buy? Maybe to recover from this fight. And the vendor has maybe like 15, 20 items. And I'm going through them. A couple of them look good. And then all of a sudden, the inventory turns into 100 items. In the middle of me looking at the items, I'm going, okay, what's this? What's this? And I'm just like, huh? I mean, did I just see that happen? Am I crazy? And again, I go to the chat, I say, and everyone in chat's like, maybe it was loading your level because vendors are based on level now. And because you have a higher level, it didn't load your level properly yet. And then, you know, and other people are like, well, there was a patch yesterday. Maybe the patch glitched the vendor. So then we leave to long rest. We come back into the tower, and all of my NPC allies are just murdering people for no reason. Just slaughtering them left and right. Okay? Great. I mean, great. Then we continue on, all right? And after, I said we had an hour without a bug, thankfully. We go under the tower to the final dungeon area of Act 2, and the dialogue's all glitched. And it's critical dialogue for missions that have been going on for a long time. So a guy's talking, he's going, really wish that I could have done something. But you know, what happened was the Illithids... So I'm glad that you saved my people because I will... Like, oh, this is great, right? This is great. And it continues, and it keeps going. Like, it wasn't just that one person. It just kept continuing over and over for like 25 minutes. So I was like, well, what do we do now? And everyone's like, just reload. So I reload the game, and luckily it fixed it, right? And I'm like, so that within one session, 4 ridiculous bugs or things happening. And I'm like, I get the feeling, here's what happened. This game had insane amounts of development time put into the first act, which is why the first act has so much content in it. All these different maps, right? Probably tons and tons of bug testing. Act 2, shorter length, different map, not as long as Act 1. You could tell. Maybe didn't have as much time put into it. And now all of a sudden, the end of Act 2, it's starting to fall apart a little bit. So what's Act 3 going to be, right? I'm really curious what Act 3 is going to be now, right? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out because we're about to be, you know, we're about to start it. And just so everyone knows, excuse me. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to continue to play the game this week and then next week. But once Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out, that's my focus. I just want everyone to understand this. Yes, Baldur's Gate 3 has literally been my focus for almost 2 months now. I'm over 80 hours into this playthrough. But when Final Fantasy VII comes out, I'm all over it. I'm excited for the game. It's actually right now my most hyped game of this year. I really want to see what they do with that game because the plot can go anywhere now because it's not confined to just the plot of the original Final Fantasy VII. The graphics look amazing. The combat's really good. You know, it was really good in the original Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I'm excited for this. And I cannot wait. So I'm going to be all over that game. And I hope that you guys are ready for a lot of coverage of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I'm super excited for it, okay? Baldur's Gate 3. We'll continue to play it, but it's definitely going to be reduced, the amount of time that we play it, all right? We'll likely break it up, and it'll be like Baldur's Gate 3, maybe one major stream a week, and maybe a night stream or 2 a week. We have to see how I can fit it in. But it's definitely not going to be the focus for a while. Because then in March, we have Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2. Those are the first, I think, 2 major games. They come out around the middle of the month. And then we got more coming out later in the month. So all those new releases will now be the focus, okay? I did my best to get as far as I possibly could in Baldur's Gate 3 in the time that we had. I hope you guys appreciate that. Like, I played the shit out of this game. Despite the fact views on the streams have floundered. This game doesn't even retain 300 viewers anymore, right? Look at the videos. I got videos from last week that don't have 300 views yet. But I'm pushing through, trying to do as much as I can, because I know that this has to go on the back burner while I play new games, okay? So, we'll see what happens, but Final Fantasy VII is coming. Now, again, I'm doing my best, and I can't wait to see what Act 3 has in store. I guess we're going to find out, okay? All right. All right. Last night was Friday Night Fights, Tekken 7 with Yoshimitsu. Once again, I'm going to echo what I said. Man, I am sad that people are not really engaging with Tekken 7. Excuse me, Tekken 8. And the reason I say that is, again, when I played Street Fighter 6, I had people coming out in droves to watch me play. I had people who were engaged, talking with me about the gameplay elements, supporting the streams. Playing Tekken 8, it's harder to get people to come watch. I get maybe one or two people who even understand Tekken in the chat, and they try to help me. Really, they try to help me. But just to give you some perspective, yesterday they're talking about the fuzzy. What the fuck is the fuzzy? I don't even know what that is. I guess that's Tekken jargon, like Tekken terminology. I don't know what a fuzzy is. To me, a fuzzy is something I pull out of my belly button after wearing a shirt like this all day. At the end of the day, you know, it's like a big clump. That's a fuzzy. I don't know what they're talking about. and like someone says, when you get them to the wall, you have to do a move that causes tornado to extend your combo. Now, I know a tornado is a juggle state. I know that. But I don't know specifically what moves that I have, for example, with Yoshimitsu that are going to cause that at the wall. So instead of saying that, suggesting something would be better, right? But the thing is, we have like one or two people possible, even watching the stream, who understand Tekken. So I'm not really getting the level of help that I got when I played Street Fighter 6. When I played Street Fighter 6, we had people constantly trying to help me learn things and give suggestions and stuff, and that was great. And, you know, with Tekken, it's a different animal. Like, I don't even see the same people around for Tekken that were here for Street Fighter 6. A lot of them haven't even come back, so it lets me know that I guess Street Fighter has more height when it comes to my viewing audience than Tekken does. So because of that, it's a little frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I wish it wasn't, but I like Tekken. I'm really enjoying Tekken 8, and I know that every time I play it, I'm getting better. Perfect case last night. This was only the second time I had ever played with Yoshimitsu. First few matches, I got hosed. I just got completely destroyed because I was playing poorly. I forgot half the stuff that I was doing on Monday. I had bad timing. I was dropping combos. Like, oh my god, I'm doing so poorly. And then after like 2-3 matches of me sucking, I got back into the groove. I started remembering things. I started implementing new things that I had seen in gameplay videos. And I was like, oh, that's neat. Let me implement this. Let me implement that. Started doing the cloud of mist. Started doing more transitions, stance transitions and things like that. And, oh, excuse me. Basically, I got much better. Like, I started playing people who were much higher ranked than me. I had a fight against people who were like 130, 140,000 points, and I only have like 90. And I actually beat them or got really close. You know, there were a few matches where I got destroyed because it's stuff I haven't seen. I'll give you some examples. An Azucena, who's a high-ranked Azucena, knew exactly what to do to bait me or to do something incredibly safe. And if they got one hit in, they would do a giant juggle combo to push me to the corner, and now I could never get out of the corner, and that was the end of the round. All right? I mean, it seems like Azucena has one of the best while standing moves. If you don't know what that means, in Tekken, when you're crouching, and you release your crouch, and your character starts to naturally stand up, if you press a button, you get a move. So she has one of the best while standing moves. She just does this giant sweeping uppercut like this, and it's huge range, and it's like instant. Like, you have to be ready for it, or you get launched for a ginormous combo. And I was like, wow, that's crazy powerful, because everyone else's while standings are slower, and hers is like, boom, instant in your face. So that was something I'd never seen before. Kicked my ass. I fought a Huarang, and the Huarang basically had a high-low mix-up that was so fast I couldn't block it, nor could I get out of the way. It was like, punch, punch, kick, 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 punch, 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 kick, 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 punch, punch, kick, kick, punch, kick, 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 punch, punch, kick, kick, punch, kick, kick, punch. I couldn't stop it. I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm being bombarded, and how do I interrupt this? And people are like, sidestep, tracks me anyway. Punch, punch, kick, kick, punch, punch. I'm like, oh, that didn't work. You know, so I'm trying everything that people are suggesting, and it's destroying me. So again, maybe it's character knowledge. Maybe if I fight more Huarangs, I'll figure out what that is and be able to block it properly. And then eventually either get out of the way or find a way to punish it. By far, My worst loss last night was to a Jin player who was 170,000 something points, which means this guy's probably a full-time, playing it all the time kind of a guy. Not to say that he's a hot top-level pro player, anything like that, but basically you could tell the guy plays Tekken tons. And he just knew exactly what to do. He was throwing out every move that was in the right situation, traps, like frame trapping me. So he does a combo and it looks like it's safe to punish. It's not, so he immediately just, boom, hits me again right after it, leading to a big juggle. He was doing the what do they call it? The Godwind Death Fist or whatever it's called. And he just juggles me. Like, oh my God. So he kicked my ass. But this is the thing. This is not Street Fighter. If this was Street Fighter 6, probably this stuff wouldn't be happening. But I don't have the innate game knowledge of Tekken like I have a Street Fighter. I have to take my licks. And then I will learn, you know. So there you go. I am really liking Tekken. I actually can't wait to play again on Monday. And on Monday when I play Tekken, I'm actually going to create a custom Yoshimitsu. He's going to look different. He's going to make all the customized character look, just like I did with all the other characters. So I'm going to make him look either silly or crazy badass. We'll see. I don't know what's available in there. I want to see what's in there and make a really cool Yoshimitsu. And then continue to play with him. And I think on Monday I'll probably do my first ranked gameplay with him as well. Try to go ranked matches, okay? But, yeah, it's disappointing because do I have a set group of people who come out for it? Yes. But it's nowhere as big of a crowd. It's nowhere as engaging or supportive as a crowd as Street Fighter 6 was. I would love to play Tekken more, but at this point, you know, playing it twice a week seems like the limit. You know, and I can't even barely get people to come out for it. It's hard to keep playing it, right? And there you go. Fed Roger says, Kuma, when? When? That's what I mean, Fed Roger. Why? How am I going to keep investing time in learning new characters when I'm only playing the game twice a week? I'll never get good at the game, ever. I'll just stay at a base level and get spanked. The second that I hit like that 100,000 point mark, I'll just constantly lose. I'll never improve if I keep picking new characters, right? So there you go. I don't know what else to say, you know. I wish that I could play it more, but that's the limits of what's going on right now. Unless things change, but I'm not really seeming to get an audience for it. It sucks. The game's not even a month old. I like it a lot. I think the graphics are outstanding. The gameplay engine is very sound. Yes, the online connections can be hit or miss, but I'm still having a good time. This is the honeymoon phase of the game, where for the first couple months, you kind of put up with nonsense to really enjoy it because it's a brand new game, and I'm really loving it, but I can't make people show up and enjoy it, right? Anyway, there you have it. It was a great stream last night. I really enjoyed myself. And I'm looking forward to more Yoshimitsu on Monday. Okay? All right, so now let's talk about the rest of the week. Today, Baldur's Gate 3 Act 2 concludes. We're in the final area. We just have to explore and do the last lore and things down there. And then go and fight the general again, I guess. Because it looks like there's another fight against the general. And that should be the end of Act 2. Now, I have no idea what Act 3 is. Because although so many characters have referenced, oh, this is, you know, you're going to go to Baldur's Gate. Meet me in Baldur's Gate. So it's obvious we're going to Baldur's Gate. Why? Why the fuck are we going to Baldur's Gate? If the whole plot has been your ragtag group came together because they were all infected with these illithids. And if you end that at the end of Act 2, why do you need an Act 3? Like, what even is it? I guess we're about to find out. So let's see today. And again, a lot of people have been dreading this and saying, just so you guys know, or just so Phil knows, Act 3 is the worst act in the game. And I'm like, great. So I guess we'll find out today. All right. Anyway, so Act 2 concludes. Moving on to Act 3 today, and then for the rest of the week and next week, all Act 3 probably will get like 10 to 12 hours into it, and then it's gonna be dramatically reduced the amount I play because I'm gonna be focusing on Final Fantasy VII. Okay. Tonight on the late stream, folks, it is our second ever co-op stream. Kat and I will be here together, live, playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth's Dondoko Island sim mode, where we're doing this virtual island. We're building up, you know, businesses, housing. We're gathering resources. We're fighting off invaders, and we're inviting guests to come and enjoy the resort. And so far in one session, 2.5 hours, we hit 2-star level, which is pretty hard to do in one session. So tonight we're doing another 2 hours and hoping that we can get to a 3-star level by the end of tonight. Last time around, we had a ton of fun. Kat loved it. So I'm very excited to do it again tonight. And hopefully you'll come join us. Remember, it's not just about the game. It's about us interacting and having fun and talking and having a hangout session while we're also playing the game. It goes hand in hand, okay? And the good news is after tonight, if we do hit 3-star level, I should have earned an insane amount of in-game currency. So when I play the game normally again on Monday night and we return back to Hawaii, I should have tons of money to spend. And I can buy weapons. I can buy equipment. I can, yeah, I didn't update the Nightbot schedule. I could fix that in a second. I could buy equipment. We could do the rest of the training courses at the school and level up all my stats to maximum. So that way we can buy all the jobs, which will help tons. So actually going back to the main game of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is going to be so much more fun once the Dondoko rewards are in effect, okay? So tonight, if you liked that content, by the way, I should say this. The first video that we did of the co-op, okay, from the other night, has more views on it than any other part of the playthrough. It actually has the most viewed part of that playthrough at like part 23 or 4 or whatever it is. Yeah, it's the most viewed part, more than part 1. So more people turned out to watch us do the co-op than to watch the entire game up to that point. Anyway, let's see what happens tonight. Hopefully that, you know, it continues. You guys really like it. And we'll continue to enjoy and unlock and do better with this island. And like I said, the goal tonight, 3 stars. If we can hit 3 stars by the end of the night, perfect. That's exactly what we're aiming for. Okay? Cool. Tomorrow is React Day, meaning all day long tomorrow I'm doing reacting. The first stream will be the DSP versus the Internet show on DSP Reacts. That's youtube.com/@DSP Reacts. That is the show where I react to clips that you submit. You, the channel members, I should say. Great show. Every week I love doing it. Big variety every time we do it. Can't wait to see tonight, because it'll be tonight when I make the playlist for tomorrow. So can't wait to see what you guys have suggested and submitted, okay? Then tomorrow night, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it's Retro React over on DSP Throwback. That's youtube.com/@DSP Throwback. And you have voted for Heavy Rain, the original playthrough from 2010. This playthrough was so popular that every single part of this playthrough has over 100,000 views on YouTube. It was one of my original playthroughs that got me noticed on YouTube and made me one of the most prominent Let's Players that there was back in 2010. So, yes, people love this playthrough. I know it's hilarious. I remember particularly some of the commentary on it and some of the things that we did. It's pretty darn funny. So I can't wait to do this Retro React with you all on Sunday night over on the Throwback channel. I hope you will join me for this special night where we enjoy Heavy Rain. And I will say this. So far, we've done Red Dead Redemption, Dark Souls 1, and now Heavy Rain. Out of those 3, I would think Heavy Rain is the one people are going to want to see again and again. It's that good of a playthrough, right? So, I hope... And by the way, what's hilarious is idiots who say, oh, well, don't you remember some of the commentary you did in that? Of course I do. I'm not stupid. There's one part where I believe I say something racial, which I shouldn't have said. It was meant in jest. It's meant playing a character, but I said it in jest. You know, it's funny in the moment, but then you realize, oh no, a white guy said that. Oh no, right? Oh no. In 2010, no one cared. In 2024, if I said that, people would be hanging me by my underpants. You know what I'm saying? But that's like one moment in the whole playthrough. I'm trying to remember what else is in there. I don't think there's anything that bad besides that. Like, that's the one thing in the entirety of the playthrough that I think people will have issue with, that one scene with that commentary. But outside of that, the rest of the playthrough is just hilarious. So, I cannot wait to do this. Seriously, I cannot wait for this. I think this is going to be a great night. And I hope you guys will come hang out with me on Sunday night on DSP Throwback, okay? Then on Monday, we return back here to DSP Gaming for my Tekken 8 major stream where I'm going to create the custom Yoshimitsu and I'm going to do my ranked gameplay with Yoshimitsu, okay? Monday night will be me playing the standard Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So after 2 nights of co-op with my wife, returning back to Hawaii and reaping the rewards of all the co-op that we've done, all that currency and all of that, okay? Then on Tuesday, it'll be more Baldur's Gate 3 Act 3 paired with another co-op night with my wife and I on Dondoko Island, okay? And then Wednesday, more Baldur's Gate 3, more Act 3, paired with a regular Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth night. So again, more rewards being reaped and progress in the game. So, I'm excited for this week. Now remember, next week will be a shorter week. Next week, it's only a 5-day streaming week. Why? Because I'm going to take my day off earlier. Normally, my day off is on a Thursday. I'm going to take my day off on a Wednesday that week. So that way I can be here on Thursday, February 29th, for the premiere of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where we're going to be doing an entire day of it on launch day. Okay? So, obviously, I want to be here for the hot new release. It's my most hyped game of the year so far. So, obviously, yes, I want to be here. Okay? Cool. The next big event going on will be my birthday bash. Every single year, the first week of April, I do a special birthday event. Usually it's around my birthday. Some years it's exactly on my birthday. Some years it's not. It's going to be a fun time, a special marathon. And what are we going to do? No idea yet. We literally have a month and a half to figure it out. But that's the next big event going on. My birthday event in early April, which I hope you guys will be here for, to hang out with me all day long, whatever we may do. We'll talk about it as we get closer. Okay? Cool. Cool. All right. There we go. I think I've covered all the topics. So just to reiterate, I have a new suggestions thread open. Okay? How do you access it? You go to the main channel page of DSPGaming community tab, and it's there. Or type !suggestion into the stream chat right now, and a link pops up. Or that link will auto populate or auto paste every 15 minutes. Please post up your suggestions. All right? Why? Suggestions for improvement are very important to this channel and to my business. I want to know what it is you want to see from me. I'm someone who likes to evolve and change with the times, and now that you guys are giving me awesome feedback, just in the last year, look at how much has changed and improved as a result of your feedback. So let's keep it going. Every time I get a useful suggestion, I try to implement it as much as I can realistically, right? So throw them my way. However, understand, number one, change might not come immediately. You know, one of the suggestions I got for years was post up your old lost playthroughs. Now I got a whole channel where I'm doing that, but it took a while to set it up, right? So please be patient, but I promise you that I am listening to your feedback and doing my absolute best to implement new suggestions. But I will say this, don't suggest games. That thread, if you're just going to say, hey, play this game, play that game, play this game, play that game, you might as well just not post. There's no reason to just post up game suggestions. That's not improving the business. That's personal preference of what you want to see me play. That's very different, okay? Only if there's maybe an entire series that maybe I've completely ignored over the years, or you feel there's a unique reason why I should play a game at a certain period of time, or maybe re-explore a series from the past that I've completely ignored for a while. If there's a reason for it, then let me know. But not just, hey, personally, I'd like to see you just play this game. That's not going to help. Okay? Cool. All right. And what we'll do is from time to time, we will access that thread, and I will take your suggestions, and I will do my best to, do those things in my business if I can. Now, by the way, let me go ahead and update the schedule. Because people are saying I did not update the schedule for today. I did not. So I think the schedule should now be updated. You can check it if you want. I'm pretty sure it just saved the updates. And it should be accurate. Okay. Cracker Jack says, why did you get a new microphone that's so small? I didn't. It's the same mic. It's the same mic. It just doesn't have the ginormous circular pop guard anymore. It has a U-shaped pop guard in front that sounds exactly the same, but doesn't block a ton of space. Now I can literally look over the mic and see all of you chatting. I don't have to go like this anymore. I can just look right over and see all of you guys talking, which is perfect. It's really good. Yeah. Birdman, a community Discord would not modernize things. First of all, Discord is incredibly old. There's nothing new about Discord. Discord's been around for ages. I can't have a Discord because there's too much trolling. Take a look at guys like Wings of Redemption who have a Discord and it's constant trolling and people doing fucked up stuff and I mean things that have involved his wife and shit. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm not involved in. I don't involve myself in drama and bullshit. Setting up a Discord would literally just create drama and bullshit, and I'm not going to be involved in that, so I don't bother with it. There's no point. People want to talk, come on a stream. Talk in the comments of my videos. Or keep your drama into detractor content, which is where they all are right now. Instead of sitting on my Discord unloading their filth, they're off in detractor content, and that's where they belong. Not in my stuff. So that's why I don't bother with Discord. Okay. Boogies is actually worse than Wings. I wouldn't know that. See, I only know about Wings because of the documentary we watched, remember? Remember it said in the documentary he had Discord mods who really were haters, and they were messing around with his wife with stuff, and then they were causing drama and all this infighting shit. So that's what I don't want. I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm here to make content for you guys, period. None of this bullshit, you know? I'm just not dealing with it. A new lean. There's a new lean in emote. Look at that. There is a new lean in emote. It looks different. Look at that new emote. You see it? It's been improved, new and improved. New and improved emotes on the fly. There we go. Cool. You like that one better? People like this one better now. They do. They're enjoying this one better. Cool. Very nice. All right. So, guys, here's the deal. I told you, I don't have a lot to talk about today. It's a more chill podcast attitude here today. So let's do shout-outs, and then let's just talk. Let's see what you guys want to chat about today. Okay? Sound good? Okay. So let's start. Rocky Suezo with the first super chat of the day. He says, hello, Phil. Chill streaming day today. Yes, indeed. And all RPGs, ending Act 2, Baldur's Gate 3, co-op with my wife tonight. It's going to be a nice, relaxing day. I love it. David Rivera with a super chat says, agreed, learning Baldur's Gate 3 a tutorial would be great. And again, it's not like they don't teach you basics. The problem is the game cannot be won with basics. The game is constantly hitting you with so much. It's so complex of a game that it just becomes so heavy of a mental load to handle, trying to figure it out. And then on top of that, it changes all the time. Every time you think you've got a hang of it, then you level up and you get 10 new abilities. Then your enemies have 10 new abilities. And it's like, oh. Anyway, thank you very much, David. And Josh, 2 months as a member, says, love you, Phil. By the way, I should bring this up. I have absolutely no idea if this is true or not. All right? However, you may have noticed that recently, when the trolls are coming in here and trying to gift out the fake memberships or the insane discount memberships that they can buy like 50 for like $1. Less than that, actually, okay? We've been shutting them down. We found a way that as soon as those gifted member bombs come out, if you click on it and we hit block and remove, it just stops. So you might have like a few that come through and then they stop. People are saying, and I think it's true, it actually just stops them from existing. So it's not just, oh, you don't see the pop-ups. They never get handed out. So therefore, I can stop the fake member bombs. I think, in theory, they can be stopped as long as moderators are paying attention. Okay? Now, of course, this is not always going to be possible. There's going to be times when there's not enough moderators. There's going to be times when I'm not paying attention because I'm in the middle of something in a game, right? But it looks to me like when this happens now, we can pretty much shut it down almost right away. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. And again, I'm not going to get my hopes up. You're right. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled. And when it happens, I'm going to shut it down. My moderators are shutting it down. And if this works, it may mean that within a month, we can get rid of all the fake memberships and we'll get back to normal. All right? I'll keep an eye on it. I will. I'll keep an eye on it and let you guys know what I find. But I don't want to get excited too early about this. I don't. Okay? So I'll let you know. I will let you know what happens, okay, everybody? Cool. But in the meantime, if you haven't noticed, last several days where these idiots have tried it, we shut that shit down right away and it doesn't bother the chat, it doesn't bother anybody. We turn it right off and full speed ahead, doesn't affect anyone negatively, which is great. Okay. All right. So, let's continue, shall we? All right. Okay, on the tips. Oh, wait. First of all, Rocky Suezo did another super chat and said, "We chill." Thank you, Rocky, for the super chat. Cool. Okay. Our first tip of the day is your $6 tip from Clubber Lang. Let's have a chill stream and rock some enemies in Baldur's Gate 3 today. My prediction for the enemies is pain. Well, there you go. Thank you, Clubber, for our first tip of the day. A $6 tip. Cool. Very nice. All right. I don't think there's anything else right now. We're actually early on the podcast too. If you haven't seen, it's not even. It's totally not even noon yet. So we got pretty darn far here. For the podcast. So now what I would like to do is open up the chat to open Q&A. If anyone wants to talk or ask me a question, tag me in the chat at DSPGaming. Let's see what's on everybody's minds. All right? And let's have a nice, relaxing, chill morning. Now, if we end up not having much to talk about and you guys want to go into gameplay early, we can also do that. So let's see where the morning takes us, shall we? Okay. What is my favorite month for Washington weather? Do I suffer from allergies? Yes, I do. Pollen allergies. I would say the winter months. The whole winter months, when it starts to be true winter, which is probably around November, December-ish, through now, are my favorite time of the year because it's cool, lots of clouds. I can have the window open so I have fresh air in here. I don't need an air conditioner blasting. And for the most part, it's more relaxing in here with natural air. The other months, like spring through summer, I have to have all the windows taped up and closed and air conditioner blasting because if I don't, it's way too hot in here. The problem is the air's not fresh. It's like stale air, you know, being pumped through an air conditioner. It's just not that good. I wish I could have a better air situation, but I really can't. It's just not viable. But that's life. You know, maybe one day if I become filthy rich somehow, I'll have central air because it's going to cost like $13,000-$14,000 to install, and I don't have that money. So there you go. Noct says, would Patreon be a better way to contribute with this membership fiasco? The way I see it, okay, if you like my streams, you contribute via a stream. Whether that be a super chat, a membership, or a tip, that's something that you can contribute live, and I'll shout out and you get recognition for it. If you're someone who only watches my videos on demand, well, then you could become a member behind the scenes. You could do a super thanks on a video, or you could pledge to my Patreon, right? There's different ways that people contribute. I have people on my Patreon who've literally been part of my Patreon for 10 years, and they just like being part of it and not having to really do anything. There's no shout outs. There's no action needed on their part. It's just a resub every month, and it helps support behind the scenes. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not going to do a major focus on my Patreon at all. It really is a legacy thing. Mostly it's for people who want to pledge and get a private video made, whether that be a React video or a Q&A video. I do those every month. But outside of that, it's just a legacy thing for people who want to contribute behind the scenes. That's it. BITW, what chair upgrade are you talking about? There's no chair upgrade for co-op. I bought a new chair. We're using it. So I don't know what you're speaking of. What's been my favorite fighting game today? Still Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It's always going to probably be my favorite. It's the epitome of the old school fighter from the 1990s. There was no fighting game in the 90s better than that. And although you can argue, oh, well, modern Street Fighter and modern fighting games are much more complex and interesting, you may be right. I mean, Street Fighter 6 has 10 times more mechanics than Super Turbo does. But to this day, Super Turbo is a game you could jump in, immediately start learning and having fun with it. You could play it at a low level, play it at a high level, play it at a mid level, and still play it differently and enjoy it. Every character there plays differently. There's really no two characters that are alike in Super Turbo, which is really cool. Yeah, I would say that's why. To this day, it's still my favorite and will always be. So there you go. Let's see. Do I have a favorite horror game or series? It's either Silent Hill or Resident Evil. I'll go with Resident Evil only because I've done Resident Evil longer than Silent Hill. I played Resident Evil back in the day when the games were new, and I liked Resident Evil 1 and 2 when they were new on PS1, while Silent Hill I never played until I was a YouTuber. Also, let's be honest. Silent Hill isn't modern. I mean, they're remaking 2. They're supposed to be making new ones. They just had this one, The Short Message, which wasn't very good. Resident Evil is. Resident Evil has modern iterations, so you got to go with the one that's still continuing, right? SC Charger says, I submitted a deep and introspective video for tomorrow's React. Hope you watched through the whole thing. We'll see. I'm making the playlist tonight, so I haven't even seen it yet. You know, we'll see what happens. Thank you for that. Do I think TikTok ruined people's attention spans? People's attention spans were ruined way before TikTok. But the fact that there's an entire generation of people who are just sitting on TikTok is hilarious. I've literally not once in my life gone to TikTok. 0 times have I been on TikTok. I've seen TikToks posted on, like, other platforms. But I've never actually gone to the site, nor will I ever. It's like, why would I waste my time on that shit? Excuse me, hold on. I have a frog in my throat. There we go. Yeah, everyone had one. Like Cheetah Man says, well, MySpace was my time sink in the 2000s. For me, it was that Facebook era. You know, the late second half of the 2000s. Everyone at my job was on Facebook and wanted me to go on Facebook. And I was like, I don't want to go on Facebook. I don't want to have a Facebook account. And they all, like, convinced me to make one. Excuse me. All right, looks like the schedule's working now. Cool. Yes, I've directly responded to Kanye West calling me out. In my closet with the door closed. I was talking to him. Anyway. I received a $2 tip from Apollo Creed. A message to the trolls: be a thinker, not a stinker. Wow. Very nice. Very exciting. Can I update Nightbot to have an X command? I could. I don't think anyone cares. Like, right now it's the Twitter command. And you're like, well, can you update it to be X instead of Twitter? I mean, I could just make another command, but I don't think anyone gives a shit. Right? All right, everyone lay off insulting each other. Don't say someone else doesn't take baths. That's messed up. TikTok is a place for more content. Why not have another platform? Because they don't work. They're not my content. My content is not short form 30-second blurbs. For example, for a whole year, you may not have noticed this. For a whole year, I focused on YouTube Shorts. I did. It was fall of 2022. Basically, through last fall, I put out tons of YouTube Shorts. And the only short that ever got any traction on YouTube was one from my Sonic Frontiers playthrough. That one got like 20, 30,000 views. And it brought maybe a few extra views to the playthrough. Outside of that, every short I ever did never got any views, never got any traction, did absolutely nothing whatsoever for my business. Made me no money because the ads on shorts are hilarious. You don't get paid diddly shit. And it's just a whole waste of futile time. There's no one going to check out my content because you saw a YouTube short. It's just never going to happen. Walk Warrior says, do you think there's a large chunk of your audience that likes interactive chill streams? That's why Tekken isn't doing well. Perhaps. But then again, with Street Fighter 6, that wasn't the case because Street Fighter 6 did good. So I don't know. It's hard to read because, yes, audiences change over time. That is absolutely a true statement. When I started on YouTube, people absolutely loved my Street Fighter content. When I was doing Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix or Street Fighter 4, they couldn't eat up enough of it. They wanted more. I made a whole channel, DSP Street Fighter. For a whole year, I just had fighting game content on the channel, and it was just a channel that was making money and was supporting. You know what I mean? Like, that's how big it was at one point. But I stopped playing it as much, and the Street Fighter V killed the momentum. Like, no exaggeration, Street Fighter V, that game, single-handedly killed any momentum that any of my fighting game content could have, because it sucked so bad. The game was such fucking trash that I just didn't care about fighting games anymore. And it really soured my attitude for 10 years, you know? Finally now, with Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, I'm back and I'm liking fighting games again, but now the audience left, you know? Now I have a different kind of audience. No, that's the point I'm making, Cheetah Man. He says, don't shorts bring in new viewers? No. What you don't understand about YouTube shorts, they don't lead anyone to your channel. You see shorts in a feed on YouTube that just endlessly plays a variety of shorts clips. So it never directs you to the channel at all. You'd have to actively say, oh, I liked that short. Let me click on that short to go to the channel and see more content. It's dumb. It's the worst. It's no logic is there. They straight up wanted to copy TikTok and Instagram. Like, they wanted to copy someone else with no intelligent thought of how this would drive traffic or help anyone. Instead, they just want to copy it. So they did, and it didn't actually help anything. There's people putting insane amounts of work into shorts. They don't do shit. They really don't drive traffic. At least for me, they've driven zero traffic. A whole year I worked on shorts. They didn't do shit for me. So why am I going to keep wasting time on that? No, I'm not playing any UFC game. I don't care. No, we're not doing donation goals for the pop filter. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god. What does that even mean? Oh. If I didn't do any donation drive goals for the fact that I'm down over $1,000 of revenue because of fake memberships, what makes you think I'm going to do one for a pop filter? Oh. If someone paid for an Evo trip for me, would I go to play Tekken 8? No. I don't have enough time to invest in it. It would be a waste of people's money. I wouldn't do well. I would have to sit here and practice, no exaggeration. Probably every day I'd have to play some Tekken. Probably every day I'd have to play hours. I'd have to study intensely. I'd have to focus only on a small group of characters to improve. And I have to probably start traveling, playing people in real life, because it doesn't matter how well you do online. You have to be able to play it offline too, and that's a different experience, and I have zero experience with that. So no. That would be a complete waste of everyone's time and money. And on top of that, you say finance the trip. You understand it's not just about financing the trip. What about the entire time that I'm there and I'm not making content at home to pay my bills, right? You can't just walk into Evo and just film everything, right? You can't film matches. That's their property. They don't let you film your matches and shit. So I'd have nothing. You know what I mean? Like, no, that wouldn't be possible. I'd have to. How am I going to make up for like a whole week of not streaming? So there you go. Let's see here. I received a $1 tip. I don't even know what this is. This is an idiot. So I'm just going to ignore it. It's stupidity. Okay. I just ignore stupidity now. I don't address it. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? I don't know. Something dumb. Ignore it. Hold on one second. Okay. There we go. Okay. What else? What's my favorite type of pasta? Don't have one. Pasta's great. Of all shapes, forms, sizes, varieties. Love it all. I'm Italian. I can't not like pasta. I don't think it's possible. Honestly, if you were to ask me what kind of pasta don't you like, I don't think I have a kind that I don't like. Excuse me. Have I been to the stratosphere? Only in my dreams. Favorite N64 game? Man, that's a tough question, but I was of the physical ones that I owned and I played the most of, Star Fox 64. Even though today I would probably say Mario 64 because I've played it more. Star Fox 64 I owned, I played the crap out of it, so. Do I believe dreams hold any significance in life? I mean, dreams have all different meanings and purposes. It could simply be your subconscious, you know, affected by something in the environment. It could be your subconscious affected by something you ate, you know. What was it that Scrooge says? He says you're more, he says you're more something than something. It's like you're more food than ghost, but what was the two words he used? I can't remember. I love that quote from Dickens. You're more gravy than grave. There you go. You're more gravy than grave. I love that quote. But anyway, but yeah, basically, dreams could have all kinds. I had a dream the other day. Just how weird this one was. It's not coherent because, you know, when you have dreams, half the time it's not coherent. I had a dream that I guess I was invited to a friend's party, like a summertime party, but also was invited to like a wedding celebration. But somehow in my head, I got them confused, and my parents were coming with me, and they were expecting that we were going to have like a big formal dinner because it was a wedding, but we ended up at the party and we were having like cookout food. And so my parents were confused because they thought that we were going to have like a big dinner, but instead we're eating like stuff you would bake in the oven, like a big cookie bake, and they cut it into squares. You're eating snack foods and stuff. And they were like, oh, is this what we're eating? I was like, yeah, I guess it's still good. Like, we all liked it anyway in the dream. But it was such a weird dream. Now, what does that dream mean? Absolutely fucking nothing. What does it have to do with me at 41 years old? Nothing at all. It's just a weird dream, you know? But sometimes dreams can have meaning. They could have something from your subconscious that's nagging at you or something, and, you know, it formulates. You can see a horror movie, and then all of a sudden you dream about the horror because you get scared. You know, that kind of stuff happens. So, huh? Birdman says, what was the last release you played that didn't have any significant bugs? They're so prevalent these days. Oh, I don't know. You have to look at the games that I'm playing right now. Like, I don't think Like a Dragon has any bugs, right? Tekken 8, does it have any bugs? Have we seen a single bug? Not that we would know, unless there's bugs in the combat engine, but how would you even know? I'm not a pro enough to notice that, right? I don't know. Did I hear her song, Are You Invited by the Dismemberment Plan? Similar thought process? No. I have no idea what any of that means. Absolutely no idea. No recollection, recognition, or anything in regards to the statement you just made. No. Okay, I received a $25 tip from 1 Minute Man. So he says two things. He says, when fighting Ketherick, do you think it's worth considering having an advantage if you have a certain order of combat actions, like prioritizing certain enemies over others? Well, take a look at the Ketherick fight from yesterday. Ouch. Take a look at the Ketherick fight from yesterday. When we started, right? Behind me, I had that spider guy from the beginning of Act 2. I had a necromancer supposedly standing in front of me, and then there was Ketherick behind. And I'm like, well, the first thing I have to do is get rid of the spider guy, because if you ignore him, he's going to go right up behind you and probably screw up your whole party, right? So that's what I mean. Like, when yes, there's a lot of strategy involved in order and placement of things that you do in the combat of Baldur's Gate 3, for sure. I would say more so than many other RPGs. You have to be on the ball in Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes to placement, order of attacks, you know, hell, even the order that your team attacks, right? Because you might have a more of an advantage. Like, one of your teammates might be able to take an enemy out right away. So why waste a turn of someone else attacking them first if someone else can get them right out turn one? So yes, more other RPGs, abso-friggin-lutely, that's a huge factor. Now he says, also if it's not too late, maybe try keeping an early save of Act 2 to do quests that you missed, forgot, or fumbled on slow days and learn more about the game. Number one, there is zero chance I'm going back to this game on a slow day. The playthrough's already 80-something parts. By the time I'm done, it's probably going to be like 150. I'm not spending more time on it than that on a first run. If we ever go back and play it again, maybe, but that's crazy to even think about. That's number one. Number two, no, I don't have an early save. They're already gone. I already maximized my saves in Act 2 multiple times and deleted all the old saves to make room for the new ones. Hate to say it, that is one thing that I will say about various RPGs. Fallout and Bethesda games are also very guilty of this. They do not optimize save data at all. Why are save files so large that you can only have like 20 of them? It's an RPG. You want to be able to go back at various points of your playthrough and restore it. Why can you have limited save slots? Like, saves should be just little blips of code that reference something that it can load later. It shouldn't be a big bloated file. You know what I'm saying? And they are. A lot of these modern RPGs, their saves are bloated ass files. So that's a criticism. But again, that's not just towards Baldur's Gate. Lots of modern RPGs seem to have this problem. I would have loved to have saves from throughout my whole playthrough, and I don't. I had to delete them to make room for more. I never played Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Don't even know what that is. Do I have plans to return to Elden Ring? The second Elden Ring run. At this point, I think I stopped playing it in May of last year, if you remember. We played it when it was slow in the early spring. So I beat like Hogwarts Legacy. And when that was done, we didn't have much going on. And that's when I started my second run. And we did it from like March or April through like May, right? And then it went on hiatus and we never went back. Basically, because when Street Fighter 6 came out, that took up all my time. I wouldn't be against going back to finish it. I'd be super rusty. I mean, it's a magic build I was doing, which is very different from the other builds that I did, or the other build I did the first run. I wouldn't be against it, but we'd have to figure out the right time for it. And obviously, right now is definitely not the right time for it with the insane amount of games that I'm already juggling and more coming out in March. March is going to be a very busy month for new releases. The rumor is the announcement of the new DLC is looming. It's coming any day now. There's been signs that the DLC is in development and in effect coming out this year. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. And obviously, if the DLC is coming out, that might persuade me or the viewing audience to want to see me jump back into the game more early than we're currently planning. Token, thank you for 2 months as a member, saying Baldur's Gate 3 hype. Thank you, Token. Appreciate that. I have no thoughts on AI-generated content becoming realistic. I can't affect it. I can't do anything about it. So I don't really care. The thing is, I put out a live stream every day, correct? There's always something new to talk about. There's always something new to do. AI content, I mean, yeah, it's bad in regards that people could probably use it for malicious purposes, but it's certainly not my, not within my realm to do anything about it, nor really stop it. So what can you do, right? You guys know where I really put out all my real content every day. You can come find me here. You know, if people want to be morons and make AI content of 1 million people and put fake stuff on the internet, you can't really stop it unless the government finds a way to outlaw it. That's up to them, not me. I'm here to put out the real content every day, and you know where to come chill, right? Do I like Milanos? The cookies? Oh, they're delicious. Absolutely they are. And there's all different flavors. I like the one that has that little bit of orange in it. It has like an orange chocolate flavor. That's super good. Haven't had it in 1 million years, but I used to like it. What's my most look forward to game coming out soon? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Really? Like, that's the big one for me right now. And what I need to do is sit down and look at the schedule for March forward, because now I'm sure since Christmas, probably a lot more dates have been generated for games, because I need to see what else is coming out. But right now, that's really the big one. And of course, in March, yes, Dragon's Dogma 2, and yes, Rise of Ronin. But outside of that, I don't really know of any other games right now. Of course, there probably are tons. I'm not aware of them. I need to look into that. Nope, never played Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. The only Oddworld game I ever played was one that came out on PS4 only like a year or two after I moved here. And I think it was one of those ones that you didn't have to pay for. It was free on PS4 if you were like a PS Plus subscriber or something like that. And I think it was a remake. I think it was a remake of one of the original Oddworld games. I liked it a lot. It was just very tough, some of the puzzles, but I did enjoy it. Hades 2 this summer? Is it coming out this summer? I don't even know that. Yeah. New and tasty, that's what it was. New and tasty. That's the one that I played. Because when I played it, I remembered the big and tasty from McDonald's, the delicious burger that they used to have that they don't have anymore. It was McDonald's used to have a burger that basically competed with the Whopper. It was called the Big and Tasty, and it was big and indeed was tasty. It was the best burger they had, and then they got rid of it. How's it going, Iron Man the Power? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. You still have the Big and Tasty in the UK? You lucky son of SOB. I wonder if it's the same. It was like a Whopper-sized patty, but it was a McDonald's burger with all the condiments that come with a Whopper. So fresh lettuce, big chunks of slices of tomato, onion, pickles, mayo, ketchup, all of that on the burger. It was literally was the McDonald's Whopper, and I loved it. $672 says, my girl is Guatemalan, and she says they still sell it in Guatemala. It's fascinating. We all know you don't have a girl. You're lying. How dare you say that on stream? Try to say. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if these foods are regional and some things stick around in other regions and they're just not in America. They get rid of them. Anyway. The McDLT is better than the Big and Tasty. What's the McDLT? I never had that one. Yes, I played Super Mario Galaxy 1 twice. I played the original, and then I played the HD remake, both of which are the same game, just with better graphics. Great game. I always wanted to play 2, but they never remade it, and I don't remember how I could play it. I think there was a way I could have played it, but I never did. Rocky says, my girlfriend is Nigerian. They have 0 McDonald's over there. What do they have? Do they have anything? Nice chill day, by the way. I like it. Cooler weather outside, so I'm not overheated here in the office. I got the right level of fan going. I don't have a pop guard in my face. I can read the chat more relaxed sitting back instead of going like this to read what you're saying, which is nice. Chill atmosphere. Very nice. Really? Mario Galaxy 2 is disappointing compared to 1. It's insane how different the quality of the levels are. Well, I never heard that. Ever had a French bread pizza? Of course. They were actually... French bread pizzas were way more popular in like the 90s. Like they became very popular to go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of those and just make them in a little toaster oven or whatever. Put them in your oven, bake them. But then they lost prominence when they actually started putting basically like real pizzas in your oven that would even rise in the oven and stuff like that. When those became more prominent, then the French bread basically stopped being used so much. No, I never tried a McLobster, nor would I, because that sounds disgusting. Any thoughts on vlogging travel, considering people enjoying the personality of myself instead of gaming? Number one, I used to vlog all my travel over a decade ago. Anywhere that I went, whether it was a convention, whether it was a Street Fighter tournament, whether it was on vacation, I vlogged it. And those videos actually had some pretty good popularity and following. That was a different era when I shared a lot more of my personal life with the public before basically everyone decided that it was a memeable, great, positive thing to harass me and try to ruin my life. So now, if I were to go on a vacation, I probably couldn't share anything with you until I was home, because God forbid I share something with you and now you got people out there trying to harass me or mess with me and my family when we're out doing stuff together, right? That's number one. Number two, I can't take time off of work. I keep telling people this. A day that I don't stream is a day that I don't make money. A day that I don't make money is a day I can't pay my bills. I'm not rich. I don't have savings. I'm just, I'm coming out of a bankruptcy. I'm trying to recover. The economy, I'm having inflation so bad the last couple of years has really hurt me badly as well, where I had opportunity where it looks like things were going good and then I have no money. So that's my life. You know, maybe that'll change, but I can't. Right now, I could not go on a vacation. I don't have money to do it. I have to be here working every day to pay bills, and I don't have money saved up to pay for a trip. So even that's what when someone said, what if we were to pay you to go to Evo? That's great. So the trip's paid for, but who makes money while I'm gone so that when I come back, I have money to pay my bills, right? That's the life situation I'm in. So there you go. Would I like a chocolate chip cookie? Sure. Can't have one, not going to eat one, but I would love a chocolate chip cookie. We're still eating candy we bought before Christmas. We still have a big bag of those Hershey's nuggets we have. We still have some, and we bought a big thing of chocolates to eat for like Christmas, and we had them one night, and we never had them again. And even on Valentine's Day, I said to my wife, would you like some candy? And she was like, nah. So we're not really big on desserts here. Genetics, the fact that you actually just referenced Ice Poseidon as a positive in my chat shows how out of touch so many people are on this planet. If you think Ice Poseidon is someone to look up to as an example of how to vlog live things you do in life and make money, do you not know of Ice Poseidon and what he's been through and the things that have happened around that guy? You're out of your fucking mind. Who would want to aspire to be like that? You are nuts. You are wild. Okay. That's right. At least from what I've seen, a while ago, a few years ago, I saw a documentary about Ice Poseidon. And basically, yeah, his whole life is ruined because his whole life's online. So everything got destroyed. Right? Everyone's constantly trying to fuck with them. I'm like, dude, what, are you out of your mind? I would never want to do that. Someone tipped $1 says, does it scare you to think you might be streaming 6 days a week for the next 10 years? No. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. If I've been doing it for the last decade of my life, how would that scare me about the next decade of my life exactly? Again, the cool thing is, the difference between 10 years ago and now is that now we have that interaction and we have that social relationship where you guys are looking out for me and trying to help me, right? So you can suggest, hey, this we think might work. This could be a cool piece of improvement. This could be a cool thing you could do. And it doesn't have to just be play games, play games, play games, play games. That's cool. I like that. I don't want to just play games for the rest of my life. And already in the last few years, the React channel, the Throwback channel, the other stuff we're doing, I'm not just playing games anymore. And it's going to grow more and more like that. I don't know what we have to be afraid of. What would I be afraid of exactly? If you're just saying, are you afraid of working as hard? No, I've always been this hard of a worker. Even before I was a streamer, I was this hard of a worker. I was just doing it offline with a camera rather than online with direct capture and a stream. I've always worked this hard. My whole life I've worked this hard. When I had the jobs before, when I worked at the helicopter company, I was working twice as much as most people at the company. And then they took advantage of that, and then they laid me off. You know, that's just how it's always been with me. I'm just used to that. That's my life, right? That's, you know, I'm a workhorse. And kind of the problem here is maybe that's why over the course of my life, I've had issues with relationships, you know? When here I am working my ass off constantly, other people are, well, why isn't he spending time to hang out? Why isn't he doing this as a friend? Because I'm busy. I'm working all the time. And that's probably a major problem, right? Right now, do I wish I could work less? Yes. Can I work less? No. Will that change? Maybe. I told you, I had things working for me, and then when the economy screwed up and all the prices went up and all the interest rates skyrocketed, it fucked me. If that hadn't happened, right now I might have been in a much better position. I might have been able to refinance. I might have been able to do things financially that would have actually helped me out, and I would be in a much better position today where this stuff like dumb gifted memberships wouldn't even be a big deal. And there's not much I can do about that, right? Like, that's life. There's ups and downs. There's things that change. You know, we have an election coming up. Things might flip again. You never know. I always say this, that life is a pendulum. It swings this way, and then it goes all the way, and then whoosh, then it swings back the other way, and then whoosh, it goes back again. So in my lifetime, I'll probably see things go back and forth 10 times. And you roll with those. And you do the best you can in those times, right? So I'm not going to freak out about it, no. 10 more years doing something that I love, 6 days a week, doesn't sound so bad to me. Excuse me. How is my carpal tunnel? It's in early stages. Like I said, it's in early stages, and all I can do is do what I can to keep my fingers stretched and keep stuff going and not have it affect me negatively. And if it does, what do? Cut back on gaming. Do more stuff, right? Do different stuff. Okay. Anything else, guys? It's 12:30. We can end the show now if you so like. Or we can continue on for a few more minutes, depending on what you want to talk about. But people kind of stopped tagging me in the chat. So I don't know what you guys want to chat about. We can talk about 672's non-existent girlfriend longer if you want. There you go. No one's really saying nothing. Maybe we should just end it here. And maybe start a little bit earlier with Baldur's Gate 3. Not that we're in any hurry, considering that once we get into Act 3, we got like another 50 goddamn hours to finish this game. I can't imagine when I finish this game. What's, you know, like, oh my god. Joe Aloft, I don't get it, man. He says, I'm playing Skull and Bones while I'm listening to you. Oh. You could literally be doing so many better things with your time. You know, you could be shaving ass hairs off your butt. You could be whittling, learning how to whittle. Right? You could become the world thumb wrestling champion. All these things would be more important to you than playing Skull and Bones. Okay. Tekken 8 Community Night. I'm not ready for that yet. Plus, if you haven't noticed, Tekken really has a fraction of the attention as Street Fighter 6. If people aren't even turning out to see me just play the game in ranked, what makes you think people are going to turn out for Community Night besides trolling? I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. The game just hasn't warranted enough attention to really need a Community Night. Sunday Night Bites needs a fishing game. Right now, if there was an interesting fishing game to play, like I said, if there was a new Bassmaster and it was on Game Pass, I would play that. There hasn't been anything in ages, so that's why we haven't done it. I know we liked doing that, right, for a while, but it just hasn't happened, right? There's nothing to do. Sarah Tip the Dollar says, work harder, not smarter. You could work harder for 3 to 4 days a week, making different or better content, and then you could have more days off. That's great. And what exactly would that be? Because that's the problem is I ask, how do I improve? What do I do that's different? And everyone has a different opinion. We'll play more games. Well, don't play as many games. Do this over here instead. Do this, do that. And I try different things. Some things stick, some things don't. I tried the reacting thing. Last year, I did less gameplay, more reacting. No one wanted that. Everyone revolted. After years of people demanding that I react to the live events, react to other documentaries, react to this, react to that. Did it all. Don't want that. Go back to gaming. That didn't work, right? How many years people say, put out the old content. Put the effort in. Put out your old content. I'm putting it out right now. Do you hear any hoopla about it? That's what I mean. Like, I feel like I'm never going to grow, really, in any kind of significant way. I'm going to kind of stay where I am. I'm going to have a hardcore fan base who like what I do. The only way you can really grow is to try something completely different, right? But like we talked about, if I did a political thing, a political channel or whatever, it could be very, very polarizing to the point where a lot of people turn off from my other content, and that's a huge risk. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like being a one-track guy. I don't want to be the guy known on the internet for this or the guy known on for that. I like gameplay is my thing, but now I've got a podcast going. I also do React content. You know, I got all this stuff going for me. I like that. I don't want to be, oh, I started doing politics. Now that's the only thing that gets any attention. So now I got to just do politics content constantly and no one wants to watch gameplay or anything ever again. I don't want that to happen. You know, I got something kind of good going right now. So, you know, what are you going to do, right? Sarah, again, she says, I said work smarter, not harder. Instead of working 6 days a week, which makes you miserable, work less, but make more thoughtful and interesting content. Thoughtful and interesting is subjective. That's the problem. Thoughtful and interesting is not a universal term. Anyone could think that something is thoughtful, and then someone else next to them says, that's stupid. Someone could say, wow, that's so meaningful. And someone says, wow, that's a bunch of shit. Right? You can't universally find things that are thoughtful and interesting. That's the problem. Don't you think I would like to make content that people like better? But what would that be? And how do I still keep my core audience engaged instead of betraying them to just jump to a YouTube trend that's popular? Right now, the YouTube trends that are popular, drama, politics. Or virally stupid shit, like always play the viral game and act like a fucking immature idiot, right? Doing stunts and shit. Again, look at the top gaming streamers, iShowSpeed and shit like that. Do they even act like humans? No. That's what people don't want humans doing it anymore. They want like fucking crazy Muppets jumping around. So either I become a Muppet, or I go full political, or I become a drama content creator. So which, you know what I'm saying? Do I want to do any of those? Do I really care? Like, do I want to do something I like? Do I think that that makes any sense? Maybe diversifying and doing some of that stuff makes sense. But again, thoughtful, interesting, subjective. There's no universal answer. Sure, I'd love to work 3 to 4 days a week and work more of those 3 to 4 days and then have on a few more days off. How do I do that? How do I make that work exactly? Because no one has an answer. Everyone says just do it, but no one has the answer. Right? Ivan Drago tipped $1 says when they you and they will tell them all they're loving your shadow, keeping on Phil. I think a few words were missing. And I'm pretty sure that Ivan Drago didn't say keeping on Phil. I don't know. All right, things are degrading now. I think it's time for us to end the podcast, right? I think it's time to end the podcast and get started with Baldur's Gate. What do you think? Sound good? All right. All right. Guys, thank you for a good show. The suggestions thread is open. Please start posting suggestions up. Keep in mind, I have to approve them all before they show up because a lot of people don't understand that. They're basically like, oh, I posted a comment on Phil's video. It didn't show up immediately, so obviously it doesn't work. I'm banned. No. My system is YouTube takes those comments, filters them for inappropriate content, presents them to me. I approve them so they show up. That's how it works. I have to do that because if I don't, tons of bots, tons of racism, sexism, fucked up stuff. People try to get me in trouble with the comments, so that's why it's all police like that. I wish I didn't have to, but hey, it's that or nothing. So that's how it works. So you will see your suggestions show up. You got to give me some time to review those over the course of a day, and you should see them go up, okay? All right, everyone, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed today's show. Whoa. And tomorrow, I'm sure we'll be talking more about how Act 3 began in Baldur's Gate 3 and also how the co-op stream went, plus any game news and the like. Thank you, as always, for joining me for the Level 1 podcast, and I'll see you on Sunday.